A lot of people say they want to lose weight, but honestly, very few people are willing to live like I am. If you're new here, I'm Megan. I've lost 125 pounds using compounded tirzepatide. I started in August 2023, weighing 243 pounds. I lost 100 pounds in 10 months, went on to lose an additional 25 pounds over the next 5 months, and have been maintaining my weight right around 118 pounds for almost a year and a half. Here on Small Things Daily, I share honestly about what this transformation has looked like, the physical, the mental, and real life habits that have gotten me to where I am. If you are on a GLP-1 and you're happy with whatever weight loss the medication gives you, that is completely valid, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're watching other people losing more weight, losing it faster, and wondering why that's not happening for you, then I'm hoping that this video might give you some insights and some clues as to what other people might be doing besides just taking their shot. Now, just to be clear, you don't need to do any of these things to lose weight. The medication will work without it. But these 30 things, the 30 things I'm going to share in this video, are the things that made the difference for me, that helped me lose weight faster and to not just lose weight, but create a lifestyle that I love. So if you are an overachiever, a go-getter, someone who's ready to go all in on yourself, this is the list for you. I'm going to go as fast as I can and tell you about these 30 things. Now, this is not some set of rules or requirements. These are just some of the real life habits in no particular order that changed everything for me. Number one is I took the very best medicine that was available at the time. I started in August 2023, and that was tirzepatide. If you're watching this, there might be newer medications out that are going to be better, but I knew that I didn't want to waste time with a medication that wasn't going to work for me. So I said, give me the very best one out there to give myself the best shot that I could. I paid out of pocket for it because my insurance doesn't cover it, but the cost was worth it to me. Number two is I stayed at the right dose of the medication. There are a lot of people who have this idea that staying on a lower dose is morally superior to taking a higher dose. And I think that that is just such a wrong way of thinking about it. The very best dose of the medication is the one that is working for you. And that does change over time. When I started on tirzepatide, most people just went up every 4 weeks. Now we know a little bit more, and we know that you should stay on whatever dose you're on as long as it's working. And how do you know it's working? You know it's working because you're losing weight. You are able to easily make decisions around food without white knuckling it through your day, without food noise running in the background of your brain. So you're going to have to work with your care provider to adjust your dose as you're going along. A lot of people get to a dose that is kind of the top dose that they need for their body and the dose that they're going to be staying on longer term. For me, that was 10 milligrams. I did go up to 12.5 milligrams of tirzepatide at some point, but it just did not make me feel very good. So for over 6 months of my weight loss journey and most of my maintenance journey, I've been taking somewhere between 7.5 and 10 milligrams. And that just seems to be the happy dose for my body. If you are somebody who maybe just needed to lose 20 pounds or somebody who's trying to lose weight due to being on a medication that made you gain weight or something like that, maybe you're somebody who can microdose or take a super low dose of tirzepatide. If you're somebody who struggles with obesity and who spent any number of years being obese, my guess is probably you're going to need a higher dose. So I would talk openly and honestly with your doctor to find the dose that is going to work for you. Number three is that I focused on eating my protein first. When you start on a GLP-1, your appetite might be pretty suppressed. There's only so much food that you can eat, and I wanted to make sure that the food that I was eating was giving me the biggest bang for my buck when it came to nutrition, and that meant building all of my meals around protein. If you're curious about what kind of protein I ate during my weight loss and the protein that I continue to eat today, I actually have a handy dandy free protein guide that I would love to share with you. I'm going to put a link in the description, and I put pictures of the actual protein that I like to eat, like the brands that I choose. Make sure to keep my kitchen stocked with these protein options so that I can easily make a meal at any point in time with what I have in my kitchen. Everybody is different. We all have different sizes and energy needs, so we're all going to have different protein goals. I try to aim for 20 to 30 grams of protein at every single meal. I feel like if I do that, then I'm setting myself up for success. Number four is I kept calories in mind. That is not to say that I tracked everything that I ate or tracked calories during the entire time that I was losing weight or now in maintenance, but I do track on occasion. I feel like tracking on occasion gives me the data that I need so that I can understand what's happening to my body. If you are not losing weight the way that you want to, the very first step that I would suggest you do is to track what you're eating. We lose weight by being in a calorie deficit. How can you know that you're in a calorie deficit if you're not tracking what you're eating? There's just no way to know. We can make a lot of assumptions about the food that we eat, but if you have spent any amount of time in an obese or bigger body, your eating is probably a little bit disordered and skewed. So we really can't trust what our eyes or our brain is saying about food, because what is an actual serving of a bowl of cereal probably looks a little bit different than what you think it does. And the only way to know is to measure, weigh, and track that food. Number 5 is that I walked. I started walking on day 1. When I started on a GLP-1, I was 243 pounds, and exercise was hard. It was not something that was going to be easy. I was living in a body that was really in pain and hurting, and walking was a struggle, but I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. And it was just the right amount of exercise to get my body moving and start building habits that stick with me even 2.5 years later. I started out by walking around my block. It is less than a half a mile. It took me over 20 minutes to do it. It was the summer in Texas. It was hot and sweaty. I would jump in the pool when I was done, and it felt so hard to do it, but I was so proud of myself when I did it. I started building up from there, doing 10 minutes in the morning, then 10 minutes after dinner, then 10 minutes after lunch. And I just kept building walking into my day until before I knew it, walking was just a part of my lifestyle, or my husband and I will go and take a quick mile walk when he has a break during his workday. I typically end up walking 5 to 7 miles every single day with barely even trying. Number 6 is I increased my NEAT. This has a big fancy name. I'm going to put it on the screen for you here, but it is all the movement that you do in a day that's not exercise. I know that when I was living in a bigger body and my feet hurt and my joints hurt and everything hurt, I would take shortcuts and figure out ways so that I could move as little as possible. And now I want to move as much as possible, because all of that movement during the day, I would say, is equally as important or even more important than the exercise you might be doing. So if you go to the gym for 1 hour, well, you've got 23 other hours in the day that you can either just be sitting and sleeping or doing something with those hours. So I try to find ways to get up and move throughout the day. Luckily, I live in Texas. Our houses are pretty big here. So just walking from my bedroom to the kids' rooms or to the kitchen gives me a good amount of steps, but I will purposefully take a load of laundry upstairs and then come down and then go take something out to the backyard, or I will volunteer to go get the trash cans off the street. Just finding little ways to move more can make such a big impact. 7 is that I started strength training. I started this again on day 1. I started using my Tonal home gym, and I like to work out at home because I have young kids. It's really hard for me to get to a gym. I know some people like to go to a gym for the social experience of it, and that is great too. I work out at home because it's easy for me. I started out working out in my pajamas because I could roll out of bed, go for my walk, and then get started with my strength training right away. I started out doing strength training workouts 3 days a week. They were about 20 minutes, not enough so that I was going to feel sore or be impacted in a negative way so that I wouldn't want to work out the next time it was time to work out. I just wanted to get my body used to it and start building those habits. Once I had lost about 100 pounds, I started to get serious about strength training and really started building muscle. And I started strength training 4 to 6 days a week. And that's kind of the habit that I've continued even today in maintenance. And I do it because I enjoy it and I like it now. I like the way that my body feels and looks when I strength train. And it really has become just a habit and a lifestyle. Number 8 is that I focus on doing some sort of mobility exercise several times a week. Now, this is something like Pilates or yoga. My Tonal has dedicated mobility workouts, things where I'm stretching and moving my body in different ways. So when I think about my movement in a holistic way, I think I'm getting my cardio. I want to be walking. I want to be doing strength training, but I also want to be stretching my body and moving my body in ways that are going to help me in real life. I make sure that I plan my mobility exercise into my workout calendar. I will usually do mobility workouts anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week. And these can be short as 10 minutes or as long as like 45 minutes if I'm doing a full yoga or Pilates session. Number 9 is I cut out alcohol. I went cold turkey and quit drinking. I was never a huge drinker, but it was absolutely something that was a big part of my social life prior to starting on a GLP-1 and this weight loss transformation. I love loved a good glass of wine. My husband and I took a trip to Napa and went and enjoyed wineries and would get our boxes of wine from the wineries. We loved trying new wines and going out to steakhouses. We would go to wine bars. I also loved sugary cocktails like margaritas or a yummy Aperol Spritz. Cutting out alcohol was an easy decision for me. If you look at the calories in a glass of wine or in something like a margarita, it just was not worth it to me. Now, there are options to have skinny cocktails and figure out ways that you can make it work if that is something that you want to do. For me, it was just easier to say no thank you, and I'm just not going to drink anymore. It has been 2.5 years, and I honestly do not miss it one bit. It was probably the easiest thing to give up and so worth it for me. Number 10 is I started making food decisions with my end goal in mind. Now, prior to starting on a GLP-1, I had no impulse control when it came to food. I saw food and I ate it. And once I had a GLP-1 in my brain, I was more easily able to make decisions about food where I could say, I'm going to choose a salad with a light dressing or no dressing because that's going to help me meet my goals. Or I'm going to opt for no carbs with my dinner because I had carbs at lunch. And just to be able to think rationally about food and make decisions, not based on what tastes the best to me or what I want, but what my body needs, was a big game changer. Number 11 is that I disconnected my social life from food. For a lot of us, going out to eat with friends and family is a huge part of our life. And I knew that if I was going to be on this transformation journey, that I needed to do something different. I needed to find other ways to connect with people that did not involve food. Even with my husband, I had a list on my phone of skinny, sober, date night ideas where I kept a running list of ideas that didn't involve food or alcohol because that was such a big change in our life where anytime we went on a date, we would go out to dinner and we had to figure out new ways to connect that didn't involve food. Now, that's not to say that we don't ever go out to a restaurant with friends or on a date because we absolutely do, but I wanted other options and I found some really creative ways to do that. I go hiking with friends, which I think is a pretty amazing idea because as a busy mom, I don't often get time just to talk as adults with my friends. And we'll go out on a hiking trail and hike 5, 6, 7 miles and get a couple of hours one-on-one to talk, which I think is pretty fun. We also started playing pickleball and building a social circle around pickleball, which is pretty amazing because we are being active, we're having fun, we're meeting new people, connecting with friends, and there's no food involved. Number 12 is that I have a protein shake just about every single day. I use health code chocolate macadamia nut protein powder. It is the very best protein powder that I have found. And I had one of these just about every single day during my weight loss transformation, and I continue to have one almost every single day in maintenance. I do this because it is a big boost of protein. It helps me meet my goals. It helps me feel full and satisfied. It's almost like a treat. I make my protein shake with frozen bananas, and it's like this yummy chocolate milkshake. I typically have my protein shake for my breakfast, and it just takes all the decision-making power that I would have to think about on what I was going to eat for breakfast, that I don't have to think about that. I can just have my protein shake. It's easy. Having easy, simple, repeatable meals are such a good thing when you're trying to transform your life. Number 13 is I ate a salad almost every single day on my weight loss transformation. I did not eat a salad because that is like typical diet food. Honestly, I had a lot of variety with my salads. I do in my house what we call like a stuffed salad. So there's very little lettuce and more of the stuff. We love cheeseburger salad or taco salad, chicken salad. There's so many different salad options, but having a salad for lunch, again, just took away making some of those decisions. But if I knew I was eating a protein shake for breakfast and a salad for lunch, I didn't have to think about it and it was easy. Salads are an amazing vehicle to get in a lot of fiber, to get in a lot of color in your foods and variety so that you're getting some nutrition in all the different foods that you're eating. I know for me, my appetite was super suppressed when I started on a GLP-1, so I wasn't able to eat much. So by eating my protein shake and my salad, sometimes that was all I ate in a day, but I knew that at least I was getting some variety. I built my salads around the protein, and by eating a salad every single day, I knew I was at least getting some good nutrients in my body. Number 14 is that I stopped eating fast food. I quit cold turkey. I was a fast food addict. I ate out 5 to 7 days a week, sometimes multiple times a day prior to starting on a GLP-1. And while you might think that I had to make make the conscious decision to do that, honestly, it was the GLP-1 that did it. I did not think about fast food or wanting to go get fast food anymore once I started on the shot. So this was an easy choice to make. Now, I have had fast food, but it is just not a regular part of my life anymore. And when I have it, it is a very rare occasion, usually with my kids, like on a road trip or doing something special, like we're going out after a field trip or something like that. So it is very rare, and it's just not something that I would choose to do on my own, to go have fast food, because I know that that food just doesn't serve me. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't taste good anymore. And it's just not something that I want to have. Number 15 is I stopped eating if I wasn't hungry. I ate when I wasn't hungry all the time prior to starting on a GLP-1. And this was just a rule that I made for myself. And I know a lot of people kind of freak out about that, because when you start on a GLP-1, you start thinking, well, I'm not hungry. I have no appetite. And I promise the appetite comes back eventually. And I just took it as a bonus that in the beginning I wasn't hungry and I was losing weight pretty quickly. When I was hungry, I focused on eating protein. I had that protein shake, had my salad, and I just did the best that I could, but I wasn't going to force myself to eat. I was taking this medication so that I could lose weight. So I want to work with my body and lose weight. Number 16 is that I started using artificial sweeteners. This is something I had never done. I am a real food girl through and through. I really believe in feeding my family the very best whole foods that I can. And for many years, I didn't even have refined sugar in my house. We would only use honey or maple syrup. And when I started on this journey, I started to realize that, you know what, all of us have different needs, and we have to choose foods that are going to help us meet our goals. And artificial sweeteners are one food choice that I can make that helps me meet my goals. So now I love using artificial sweeteners. I prefer monk sugar. Some people can't do that because it causes a little GI upset. But for me, I use it in my tea every day. I will make muffins with it. I like to use sugar-free syrup on my pancakes. And it's just a trade-off for me that I am willing to make. And I enjoy having the option to have the taste of something sweet without the added calories for my body. Number 17 is that I ate a daily treat. I do usually make a conscious decision with this treat that it is something a little healthier, but having a treat every single day helps me know that this is really a lifestyle. I'm not restricting, I'm not punishing myself. I am getting to enjoy this life, and part of enjoying life is enjoying your food. I ate a keto peanut butter cup. They're the Skinny Dipped brand, almost every single day during my weight loss transformation, and I continue to eat them today. I sometimes will eat baked goods that my kids make. I have two girls who love to bake, so they will make cookies or cakes or donuts or cheesecake or whatever. And sometimes I will eat a bite of that or a little piece of that as my treat for the day, and then I won't eat my peanut butter cup. But if they're not baking something or we don't have something planned where we're eating a treat, I'm going to be eating my peanut butter cup and enjoying it. Number 18 is I started listening to my body. This is something that I did not do prior to starting on a GLP-1 because my brain around food was so impulsive and just worked so quickly that I never had time to think about food. But once I started on GLP-1 and it slowed down my brain and I could start to think rationally about food, I could start to listen to my body's cues. And by listening to my body, I mean hunger cues, fullness cues, satisfaction cues. I could be eating a meal and enjoying it, but then you get to a certain point when you realize you're not enjoying it as much as you were the first 5-10 bites that you were having. And I could start to listen to my body and understand, okay, we're done with that. And I think that's just a new experience for me, being able to take a bite of a cookie and then decide, do I want more of this cookie or am I done with the cookie? Whereas before, the whole cookie was going in my mouth before I had a chance to think about it. But I think being able to listen to my body and be able to pay attention to those cues was a new experience for me and something that I rely on now in maintenance to continue to listen to my body. And that means listening to what kinds of things my body wants. There are some foods that make me feel better than others. Some foods I can eat in a small amount, but in a bigger quantity, they don't make me feel that great. So I have to listen to my body and understand what's happening in it to be able to make decisions about what I'm eating. Number 19 is that I bought workout clothes. I had never bought workout clothes before I started on a GLP-1, but I knew that I wanted to make movement and exercise a habit in my life. And honestly, I just felt better when I looked the part. So I bought some workout clothes. I started out with some biker shorts from Amazon and I wore those and I felt so good in them, and it really motivated me to want to work out. Maybe that sounds totally superficial, but having workout clothes, being able to put on my shoes and my workout clothes, it was like dressing the part for who I wanted to be. And that's related to number 20, which is buying clothes that actually fit my body. My closet was so sparse. I had so few clothes that when we moved just prior to me starting on a GLP-1, our realtor was super confused and told me that nobody was going to buy our house because there were no women's clothes in the closet. It only had my husband's clothes. And she was like, that's going to weird people out because they're going to wonder where the women's clothes are. I probably had 12 to 15 pieces of clothing to my name at that point, and I didn't feel good in any of them. So I actually started buying clothes that fit my body even before I started on a GLP-1. I would say this might even be the thing that led me to having the confidence to start on the medication, because I started taking care of myself and I started caring about how I looked and how I was presenting myself to the outside world. I signed up for Stitch Fix and it was amazing. I had never felt so good in the clothes that I was wearing, even though I was wearing a size 2X, size 22, and I just felt so good. And wearing clothes that fit your body is so underrated. Number 21 is that I weighed myself every single day. I used the app Happy Scale so that I could weigh myself. I didn't have a smart scale, I had a regular old-fashioned bathroom scale, and I used it and I wrote down my weight in Happy Scale every single day. I liked Happy Scale because it gives you a little moving average of your weight, so that even if you have one day where your weight's going a little bit up, it kind of averages it out so that you can see the overall trend is still going down. Prior to starting on a GLP-1, I probably hadn't weighed myself in a year. Maybe 2 years. And I was scared of the scale. I didn't want to see what it said. But knowledge is power, and having data is the only way that we can inform our choices to make better ones. Weighing myself every single day took away any of that emotional connection that I had with the scale and allowed me to just see the number and continue on with my life and deal with it. Number 22 is I took full-length photos. Now, when I started, I only had my bathroom mirror, and I quickly realized I wanted to see like more of myself. So I got a full-length mirror and started taking pictures and put those side by side. I used an app called Layout so that I could put the before and after pictures together, and I was able to see changes even like 1 week and 2 weeks later. I could see huge changes in my face and my neck and my waist, and that is so motivating. I think being able to see those changes happening kind of in real time in a way that you can't see them when you're just looking at yourself every single day in the mirror is huge. Number 24 is that I didn't tell anybody that I was taking a weight loss medication and doing this weight loss transformation. I didn't even tell my mom or my sister, and they actually noticed about 2 weeks after I started the shot and noticed on a FaceTime that my face was looking thinner. By that time, I had already lost 15 pounds, and then I told them about it. But I did not tell any of my family, any of my friends. I just wanted to put my head down and do the work. Eventually, of course, people started noticing, and then I was forthcoming and honest with them about what I was doing. I am always happy to share because I had a friend share with me about being on a GLP-1, and that definitely gave me the push to start it because I knew somebody in real life. So I always felt like I wanted to share with other people if it could help them. But because I had tried and failed so many things before, I didn't want to make it about that. I didn't want to share that with people ahead of time. So I just put my head down, did the work, got to it, and eventually the results speak for themselves. Number 25 is that I started weighing and measuring portions, and especially foods that I really enjoy. So foods that pack a big punch, like rice or potatoes, cereal, peanut butter, things like that, I still measure and weigh those things out, because I went so long with my brain having this dysfunction in it that it was really hard for me to tell what a serving looked like. Now, I don't think of a serving size as like the be all and end all. If I'm still hungry, I can have more than a serving, but I feel like a serving size of any food is a great starting point. And when you are coming from a place of overeating and overindulging, having a starting point is really important and so helpful. Number 26 is that I stopped believing that there was some wagon that I was going to fall off of. If you are anything like me, you have tried and failed at so many diets before. And I think a huge part of this GLP-1 transformation is realizing realizing that it is not like any other diet that you've been on. There is no falling off the wagon because this is a medication that is helping you change your life and fix the root cause of obesity and work in your brain to help you help yourself. So I can have a day where I skip all of my exercise. I can have a day where I eat things that don't make me feel great and I might regret. And none of those things are falling off the wagon or setbacks or failures. That's just another day. Life is not always perfect. Life is not always easy. And the key to finding success on a GLP-1 or really in life is to just keep going, to just look at every day as a new opportunity to do the very best that you can. Number 27 is that I recreated some of my favorite foods that I would eat at fast foods or at restaurants at home. I know some people are all about cooking only whole foods and cooking everything from scratch at home and not doing things like French fries. But for me, I wanted food that tasted good and that satisfied any cravings that I had. So I will buy Ore-Ida extra crispy French fries. I will buy chicken nuggets. I will make my own Chick-fil-A sauce and have that at home and have a delicious fast food meal that is way healthier than eating a Chick-fil-A, cheaper too, and better for my wallet. Probably isn't the healthiest food and not something I do all the time, but having options like that are really important to me to make sure that I don't feel like I'm deprived. Number 28 is that I started sleeping 7 to 9 hours every single night. Prior to my weight loss transformation, I was a night owl. I would stay up until midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, doing things because I felt like that was the only time that I had for myself. I'm a busy mom, I homeschool, and by the time I had put them to bed, hung out with my husband, I felt like that was the only time I had for myself. Then I was tired in the morning. I would stay in bed for an hour scrolling, be rushed to start my day, but prioritizing sleep and making sure that I was going to bed at a reasonable hour really changed everything. I have more energy. I don't need a nap during the day. I can wake up and get started by walking and getting out and exercising right away in the morning. If there's one piece of advice I can give you, it is to get enough sleep, because when you have enough sleep, you can operate at a level that is way better than if you're sleep deprived, I promise. Number 29 is I started cooking simple meals without a recipe. I do love to cook, and I cook food for my family all the time. My husband works from home. My kids are home all day, every day. So we're cooking 3 meals a day, 7 days a week from scratch at home. But one of the things that I started doing when I started on this GLP-1 transformation was just cooking super simple meals. So instead of using a recipe where I'm putting things together and assembling it in some complicated way, I started just cooking the ingredients for the meals. And this actually works way better if you have kids, because a lot of times kids don't like their food all mixed up, and you might have different kids that have different preferences, like different things. And this allows me to be in complete control of what I'm eating. So I always start my meal by focusing on the protein. Then I add a vegetable to it. And then I can decide if I want to add some sort of carb to it, or if I don't need to add a carb to it, then I won't. So instead of making something complicated like lasagna, I will just make ground beef with sauce. I will make noodles on the side and green beans. And that makes a simple, fulfilling, satisfying meal where everybody can pick what works for them. And last but not least, number 30 is that I started living my goal life. I didn't wait until I got to my goal weight to feel like I had arrived, to feel like it was time to start, to feel like that's when I had success. I started from day one living how I wanted to live. That's part of wearing the workout clothes or wearing clothes that fit. I started dressing the part and feeling like I was worth it, and that every single thing that I was doing throughout every single day was serving me and the future me in the very best way. I was creating myself every single day. And what that resulted in was this goal life, which is so much better than a goal weight. A goal weight is a number on the scale. A goal life is all of your hopes and dreams and all the things that you want to accomplish and all of the people you want to spend time with, all of the adventures you want to take, all of the special moments that you don't want to miss. All of those things are so special. And I started living that on day one. And here I am 2.5 years later, living my very best life. I'm still living my goal life. I've been at the same weight for almost a year and a half now. And when the thrill of losing weight goes away, because eventually it does, eventually you get to your goal weight, you have to have something waiting for you. So I think practicing living that life from day one is so important, because then when you arrive at your goal weight, you just keep on going. You just keep on living and keep on enjoying the life that you have built. Okay, so you don't need to do all of these 30 things to lose weight. You don't even have to do one of them. This is not about perfection in any way, but I think it's wise to decide what kind of results that you want to have on your GLP-1 transformation journey. For me, being on a GLP-1 was never about getting smaller. It was about building a bigger life for myself, about feeling more confident, stronger, more present, and alive. I stopped waiting for my goal life to start someday when I reached a number on the scale or a pant size. I started living it today, and my body just followed. So maybe pick one or two things from the list that I shared and start there. Small choices done consistently change everything. I am cheering you on. I'll see you in the next one.